Hi, I'm Dr. Lisa Wilcox, and welcome to your tutorial for how to engage your glute med. So, the glute med is just huge for everything. And so, if you are weak or if it's just not engaging, you can actually be really strong in your glute med muscle, but it just might not be engaging when you're standing or stepping. And so, I see that all the time. That actually happened to me. I developed this severe sciatica. My leg was going numb. It felt like ice or air conditioning was constantly flowing down my leg. I had a lot of pain, and we worked on all of the normal culprits in here. And then I was like, I was walking one day, and I put my hands like this, and I was walking, and I went, oh, you know what? I don't feel a single thing going on over here. It actually felt like really just soft and almost indented on that side, even though I work out pretty consistently and I would hope to think that I have somewhat strong glutes. On this one side, it had just been shut off because of a small injury that I had had. And so if you can imagine, if you never get this kicked back on, years down the road, you could develop all kinds of symptoms. It can affect you in your head and neck. You could have headaches because this muscle isn't kicking on, because it supports everything in our upper body. You can have all kinds of lower body issues because it supports, again, everything in our lower body. So when people talk about core strength, a lot of times people think of the abdominals, but core includes all of our abdominals, our back muscles, our hip flexors, our glutes, so many things. So what I'm going to show you today is how to get your glute med, your gluteus medius, to engage. So this muscle is the muscle that when you go to take a step, that is what engages right here during that step. When you shift your weight over onto that side, that is what engages to keep your pelvis level. And then you're able to take the next step, shifts over here, pelvis stays level over here because this glute med is kicking in. Now, if you were to not be utilizing that properly, I'm way over exaggerating, but this is essentially how we would look when we were walking if you weren't engaging your glute med at all. So obviously I was way over exaggerating, but can you imagine what on your body that could affect? Like everything. I didn't even go so far as to show you when you do that, your knees will usually fall in like that. So this is very important. So what you're going to do in order to determine if your gluteus medius is firing, I like to put my hands on my hips like this. So my hands or my finger, my first four fingers here are in the front, and then my thumbs are in the back. Just so happens if you go, so here I am on top of my pelvic bones. If I just go below that and do that hand hold or that hand placement, your thumbs will be most likely on your gluteus medius. So you can feel there, or you could use your thumb, or you could switch around so that your fingers could feel it. But when you're taking a step, if you take a step, do you feel a muscle contract under your fingers? Do you feel it kind of firm up and like push your fingers out a little bit? If you don't, if you feel nothing, or if it feels kind of just soft and like blah, that is a sign that your gluteus medius is not engaging when you go into a single leg stance or when you shift your weight over onto one side. And that is important for literally everything. So the way that I have people work on this is when you take a step, if that's not engaging, that's almost essentially what the exercise is going to be like, except we're not actually stepping forward. We're just standing in place, and I'm going to have you shift your weight over onto the side that we're activating. So in this case, it's this side. I'm shifting my weight onto that foot, and then what I'm going to do is push through my stance leg to make it almost like I'm making that leg as long as I possibly can. Like I'm trying to push my foot through the floor. I'm making my leg as long as I possibly can. Now what will happen is you might feel some burning if that muscle starts kicking in. You're going to feel your gluteus medius kick in, and this side is actually going to lift up a little bit. Now the thing that I want you to be careful of is please do not just sit here and use these muscles over here on this side to hike your hip up. That will do nothing. So what we're looking for is feel here. You can put your thumbs back there or you can put your fingers here. When you shift over onto that side, push that leg through the floor or try to make that leg as long as you can and feel this muscle over here kicking in. And this side will lift up a little bit. But don't worry about that side. That's not the goal. The goal is to push through that leg. So I would suggest doing this on both sides. You might feel some burning in this gluteus medius area, which is kind of right in here. The glute max is like the gluteus maximus is the big, huge butt muscle. The gluteus medius is about the size of my hand, kind of right in here. And again, it's very, very important. So as you're doing this, do this on both sides, but you might feel some burning in there. If you get to the point where you've done, I usually like to do repetitions kind of like this speed so that I can really concentrate on, am I feeling that under my fingers? If you get to like even 2 or 3, if this muscle is just kicking on, it might start burning right away. If you do 2 or 3 and then the 4th you're like, oh man, I can't do anymore, that's enough for that set. So then maybe go over to the other side. And even if the other side feels like it's kicking in pretty well, this is always a good way to keep your muscles working properly. And if you do have a side that's working well and one side that's not, maybe even try doing it on the side that's working well first so that you can feel like, what does that feel like? What does that feel like to feel that muscle contracting under my thumb or my fingers? What does it feel like for my body to shift over and for this leg to lengthen and for this leg to kind of lift up a little bit? If it's working well on one side, yeah, do that one first. So then your brain and everything can go, oh, that's what that's supposed to feel like on this side. So I would start with a few repetitions, see how it goes, maybe do 2 to 3 sets on each side. And I would love for you to be able to work up to, my goal for a lot of things before I progress people on to the next thing is try for 3 sets of 20 eventually. I know in the beginning that's going to sound crazy, but believe me, you'll start to get that muscle to kick in and it'll start to kind of fire automatically. And once you do that, yes, you're going to feel the burn, you're going to feel the fatigue in the muscle, but it's really going to start helping that engage for the next video, where I'm going to show you how to utilize this. Then once you have it kicked in, I'm going to show you how to utilize it while you're walking.